Everyone, my name is Robert White. So I'm the founder and current CEO of Sound Sustainability. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be able to present my startup company and kind of talk to you all about where we are and where we're going. So I'm a veteran who served over 20 years. Currently, I'm in grad school at the University of Washington for a master's in entrepreneurship. So I shared today, I'm going to be able to talk more to you about how we are fighting the silent epidemic of hearing loss. So here's our agenda. I'm just going to, talk about why we exist, why now, always the why us, as people love to, ask that question, where we are and what's next for us as a startup. So why we exist. So our mission is to improve the hearing health of the world. And how we do that and the way we're going to do that is through education, engaging the customers and building trust with them, and then increasing access to innovative solutions. And what that looks like across not just in the US, but internationally as we expand is, how do we become the audiologist office on the go? How do we improve access for those who are in rural areas like Alaska and those, from other tribes across the United States, as well as even those just in rural areas in general, and disadvantaged communities around the world, increase that access for these different solutions for them. So our vision, as it shares on there, is democratize the hearing industry, because we truly do believe everyone does have the right to hear. The bottom line is about our customers and being a lot more customer centric. So why now? As its slide shows you on the top, hearing loss globally is going to double by 2050. Even in high income countries like the US, North America, Canada, we still have over 38 million Americans that experience hearing loss just in a mild and moderate category. The World Health Organization is expecting now this to potentially even be fivefold due to a high prevalence of our population that turns 60 every day. About 10,000 people in the US turn, 65 every day, which is driving this part of the hearing loss industry. And due to, as you get older, it's natural for you to lose your hearing. Another part of why now is in 2017, Congress passed the FDA Reauthorization Act. So what this did inside there is it directed FDA to create a whole new market space for mild and moderate hearing loss over-the-counter hearing aids. Currently, they do not exist. I know you may see these late night commercials on TV or these great ads that come across Google and say, buy our over-the-counter hearing aid. These do not exist right now in the space. These are a lot of the improper scams and things that are happening, unfortunately, in this community, as well as those are just what we call amplifiers. It just amplifies sound. They're not a medical device. So as the FDA is now opening up this new market space, we had been waiting on them to issue their final guidance. This was due August of last year, but we all recognize the political as well as the cultural context of the country was going through at the time. So this delayed the FDA. Just about the beginning of April, when their consistent agenda came out, the over-the-counter Hearing Aid Act, part of it was not on their agenda. So we are unsure right now if they're even going to be able to move through their final guidance this year. I currently talk a lot with a person by the name of Nicholas Reed, who's at Johns Hopkins, who pushed this act with the Senator Grassley's and Warren's office. So staying in contact with him and as well as the offices allow our company to be able to understand and expect when we should, FDA should come out with their final guidance. So why us? As I shared, I'm a veteran. I am actually hearing impaired. I've been wearing a hearing aid for 7 years. What you can see up top there is from the University of Washington is what you care about can change the world. I took that picture actually in 2017 when I went to UW for my first master's, but that saying resonates so true even today. What you care about can change the world. And I care about hearing health due to last year, right before COVID hit, myself, my wife, we were at a guest lecture on the campus, and my hearing aid was broken at the time. I've been waiting months just for like a 3D mold printing, just things to be fixed on it. So I was handed a hearing assisted device, looked like an old Walkman, had the foam headset on it, if you remember those, and I put it on my ears, and I'm only about 10 feet away from the guest lecturer. And I can't even hear the guest lecture through this device. It's just not working. And I remember telling my wife at the time, this is 2020. Why are my AirPods not connecting to what they call a FM feedback and loop system? Why can't I use my phone to be able to do these things so I can hear this professor speak, who's only 10 feet from me? So that got me diving into understanding more about my own hearing health and looking into why my own hearing aid I wear is not improving my quality of life. And what I mean by that is my own hearing aid does not connect to Bluetooth. I am supposed to wear a secondary device around my neck so that I can connect to my phone. So diving and understanding all the complications and things I never understood or didn't see before matter now. Realizing that even myself, my quality of life was not at the highest standard it should be, because I was not being afforded the product that can get me there. And the bottom picture, just to share a little bit, it's myself. And it's not during deployment, it's actually here in Washington State at Yakima. But I was a field artillery officer, so I lost my hearing, of course, being around, guns that shoot really loud, as well as a bad infection that ended up destroying my hearing bones. So I actually have a titanium eardrum. So I'm about 1/100th of the bionic man. So at the University of Washington, while I'm in my master's program, I work with about 25 different students all across 3 different campuses and 7 different different programs, and able to do this as I build this team based on different capstone projects across the university, as well as finding students who just wanted to volunteer their time. So working with about 5 different capstone projects where it helps us get off the ground a lot faster than most other companies would. And as well as we're able to work with about 6 different mechanical engineers that they also get the learning experience how to build a product right out the gate as they're leaving school. So it's a very phenomenal relationship, I believe, we've been able to develop, not just with the students, but also with the university. So our actual advisors are those at the bottom. Dr. Alan Langman has been in the industry for 25 years. He's currently the head surgeon or the head instructor for surgery at the University of Washington Northwest Otolaryngology Clinic. And then Sarah Bowden's phenomenal. She leads myself in a lot of our discussions around strategy and preparing us for logistics chain. And then Alex is actually a graduate at University of Washington, their biomedical regulatory and master's program. It's currently based out of Japan and just recently even assisted another company to get their product FDA cleared, one that actually cleared earwax out of your ears. So he has a great experience of dealing with the FDA, as well as now in this little bit of industry around the ear. So where we are, this past January, we received our incorporation. I graduated from the Founder Institute program, which is a pre-seed accelerator. During that time, we were also enrolled into the UW's, National Science Foundation I-Corps program, for customer discovery, as well as it's partnered with WeReach for their biomedical boot camp. So we were able to complete that course or that program where we interviewed about 23 potential customers and surveyed over 80 potential customers, and to be able to develop what our actual beachhead was and where we're going to go with our product solution. And we're still moving forward with that, as I had human-centered design engineer students work with me. As Jacqueline shared, this past month now, so it's been over a month. Wow. I competed at the Holloman Health Innovation Challenge, and our team was able to bring home the grand prize. It was a phenomenal, reward to the team, all the hard work they've been able to do, and be able to get us where we are. And currently we are in the investment round, which is the second round for the Dempsey Startup Competition, where we'll compete on May 5th. What you see there where it says functional prototype is where we're heading at this point. Our intention, my intention, is to build our first actual hearing aid by our own hands. We could go to our distributor and have them build one based off the sizing and housing, but we are building it, actually physically building it at the University of Washington and some of their makerspace labs, as well as at home. And that functional prototype, or at least that picture you see there, is the actual first housing development we did as we were looking to change what the housing looks like in a hearing aid. And how does that function, and how does that fit form and comfort for the actual customer who's wearing it. So what's next for us, as most startups need, is we are looking to develop strategic partnerships. Organizations like the Hearing Loss Association of America, AARP, organizations who are, because our beachhead that we look at is the Gen Xers, 45 plus community, 45 to 65. It's a very interesting community to market to. So that strategic partnerships are going to matter, as well as strategic partnerships matter for us to be able to build trust in our community, where a lot of trust is gone and not understanding what products are actual helpful for you. We're still in our product development and building our first prototypes, not just hardware, but the software side too. Along with our over-the-counter hearing aid, we're working on a virtual hearing test. There are a lot out there that you can take online right now, but we're working on one that actually we can apply to the FDA for FDA clearance. There is a take-home, there's only one take-home test right now, is FDA cleared. So we're pushing forward to move where we can make our virtual hearing tests FDA cleared as well. And part of that help is looking at phase 1 grant applications and applying for those. And what's next around that, also for strategic partnerships, is being able to connect with those who've done these grants before, who have written those, who have been successful with it, be able to work with them and understand how, as a startup, we can do this and get ourselves where we're going to. So thank you so much for your time. I would always love to share it in with people is our superpower is helping people hear. What's yours? I had the great privilege to be able to hear many guest speakers. I remember one of them talking about like your superpower and how that matters as you're an entrepreneur and as you're a startup, and that not everybody has the same superpower, and how do you build your team around that. So I always remember and thinking of that when I ask people what is their superpower, and what ours is as a company and what we look forward to doing for other people. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Robert. Wonderful overview. So these last 10 remaining minutes are a great opportunity for us to hear about what we can do for you. But before we get started with that, I'd like to open the floor up to see if there are any questions. So feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question if you'd like.
This is Kai, Robert, and I want to touch on one point that I think you kind of already addressed, but I'd love to hear just a little bit more about this.
Yeah.
There are so many, what seems to me, so many hearing aid products already on the market, and the challenge of actually building your own, as opposed to going to somebody that could do this for you, seems like such an incredible choice in terms of investment of resources, time, and risk. And I'm wondering how you've made that decision, because I love it. I love manufacturing, but my goodness, there's an awful lot of options out there. That one to me is just kind of an outlier. I'm trying to get my head around it.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking. So I have to apologize for not being clear enough with that. Our first one, I want to build with our own hands, so we can see that. So the first couple of prototypes coming out the gate is what we're going to be building our own hands. The housing, once that's determined, with our mechanical engineers working on it, that's the only thing that we have to share with our distributor. We're able to, go straight to them and they build it, build a PCB for us, build the housing, put everything together. That's, something I'm working on right now, thinking like, can we do this US side, or does it have to be internationally in the beginning? So I appreciate you asking that. I'm sorry it wasn't clear enough with that. No, we're not going to go into manufacturing. That's a lot of resource, a lot. Maybe in give it 10, 15 years, but not in the beginning. So
thanks for that. And I've just got to say this is an outlier, but for somebody working in the area of hearing, you have such an incredible voice coming across in this. I'm really impressed, and it's just
thank you.
Juxtaposition. Thanks for your presentation.
Oh, thank you. But sometimes I wonder about my own voice, because I can't recognize it enough with the hearing loss. Yeah.
Thanks very much. I really enjoyed your presentation, Robert, and I know we're going to speak later today on a different topic, but it was interesting. This morning I was on a lecture with Dr. Rowe, who is from Intuitive X, and someone raised the point that manufacturing is becoming a little bit more of a hub in the Ballard area. So there may actually be an opportunity in the future for you not to have to go overseas if manufacturing is returned to the US.
I would love that. I don't live in Seattle anymore right now, but it's still my city. So I consider a home after spending, 20 plus years in the military, not really having a home. So being able to manufacture inside of Seattle would be phenomenal.
Can you maybe talk to us a little bit more? I do agree that one of your big challenges will be so many disruptive, maybe, just not so honest actors out there trying to sell things. How are you going to overcome that, and maybe talk more about your online test that you're developing?
Yeah, it's a great question. So as we understand and talking with customers and understand the industry of, it's a trust and a transparency thing that, there are already companies right now saying that they sell over-the-counter hearing aids. One has done a great job on Indiegogo, raising, almost $2 million and promising to sell, an OTC by sometime this summer. So be able to overcome that, we see as you have to be able to build trust and transparency with this community and them understanding what it is. There's so many different products that come out there, and it's not like glasses when you go to the optometrist, or LensCrafter, and you have a whole wall of 100 different ones. Most audiologists are going to sell you the one or two brands that they already contract with. So we're building a what I call the hearing health continuum. What this does is be able to ask certain questions of a potential customer and be able to inform them what potentially is the best fit of a hearing aid, which if it's style or not around brand, but mostly around style and what they're looking for to help build the trust. Because again, everybody gets told that they should buy one certain brand or go to Costco, but there's so much else out there that's available. And it's just, if you don't understand or haven't been educated on it, then you're going to go with what's just there by an audiologist. So that part is there, as well as educating through our, curated hearing health library, through our marketing and telling, and understanding, explaining that what is truly a medical device versus what is not. And making sure that customers understand that, that there are laws that also protect them. Every state adjutant has sent out letters before telling people to cease and desist around this OTC. A lot of them already have. So being able to make sure that those parts understand what's happening too. I know the second part of your question around the virtual hearing test. Now go ahead, Jacqueline.
Oh, I just want to, you're welcome to maybe set aside that comment for now. We've got Dr. Carolyn Brown has a question, so I want to make sure that she gets an opportunity.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is very exciting. I have two major questions. If I need, and I know my hearing is going down and I'm going to have some kind of assistance in the future. My first question is, what will you do for me that I can't get already on the market? The second question I have is, what's it going to cost me over against what I know I have to pay now?
Absolutely. I'll speak to the second one first, and I think it speaks to the first one as well. Current prescribed hearing aids, costs an average about $2,500, and you can spend almost upwards of $10,000 for one. Even ones that are doing direct to consumer right now, it costs $1,500 to $3,000. So our first model that we've already priced out and looking at it, being able to sell it for $499. So right under $500. And I see someone's mouth open. And a reason, a lot of people ask us the same question: how can you sell it for so cheap? And I just want to address that real fast. I think it goes to that first part of your question is most hearing aids, they're being sold by an audiologist. Hearing aid manufacturers do not market to you as the user. They market to audiologists. They market to a B2B, not a B2C. So you don't see them. So a lot of people want to blame manufacturers for the cost. It's not them. The costs are passed on from the audiologist because you're paying a professional for their time. You're paying a professional doctor. So when you pay $2,000 or $6,000, you're paying for that future visits you may or may not go to. So you're paying for additional services you may never receive because it's all bundled together with the cost of your hearing aid. So to answer your question, the cost is what lets us be able to get to the door and provides that to you. The second part, or first part of your question, we're able to do differently and help from customers is one, talk about the trust. Two is if you're able to take a hearing test that gives you the understanding, or like not a prescription, but gives you the threshold of where your hearing loss is, and you already know that you fall within those category without having to go to your audiologist, without having to ask your primary doctor for a referral. If you could do that in 5 minutes versus 3 days, which one would you rather do? Are you going to wait a week to go wait for your referral to an audiologist when you're concerned about it right now? We all go to the internet right away when we're concerned about something or we want to check it. And that's just how the human interaction is now. So being able to do that part, as well as then once your hearing aid is received, we're working, and it's already out there. And the technology between almost all the hearing aids are not any different internally, like same electronics mostly. It's the algorithm of the software that makes them different. Each company has been able to data mine, different parts. So we're not going to be able to catch up with those companies. I fully recognize that that is a negative for our side, but we're able to match what their baseline is already doing. That's how we're able to come into the market still, but at an affordable price point. So when I say that is a lot of hearing aids are becoming self-fitting. So as you think about when you get home with your hearing aid, the user, the customer is self-fitting it to their hearing loss. There's a recent study that has shown the efficacy of doing self-fitting actually is better than an own audiologist fitting you to your hearing aid. So as more of those studies, more that shows, and more of the algorithms software is getting better, then as a company is doing direct to consumer, we can still match the main manufacturers, if not do it better and faster than they can.
Thank you.
I hope that helps answer it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So Robert, we're really almost out of time. And before we end, I just want to ask, you're an earlier stage startup. What can this community do for you, and how can people connect with you?
I definitely, I'll put my email in there, be able to connect me that way. I think two of the biggest things, we're looking for right now is still be able to talk to more customers. You can never talk to enough customers. So then, you don't realize who wears a hearing aid. You actually ask somebody. I didn't realize how many people I knew wear hearing aids. Even though I'm 41, there's a lot of people I know wear hearing aids now. So you just don't know. So we're looking for more, customers to interview, as well as as that may turn into user testing for us. So that connection matters still. We're not done with customer discovery by a far means, no stretch. And the second part would be more of the strategic partnerships and connections, the organizations, like HLAA, looking, at AARP, looking for those organizations who do a lot of advocacy around medical or around healthcare for any, population, because those ones are going to matter, because it's not a if, this happens, it's a when. So as hearing aids come out, strategic partnerships are going to matter, because these organizations have to understand how important it is, just as reading glasses when they came out, how important that was for the community. So.
Awesome. So basically, if you want to take a minute and put your contact in the chat, then so I think what I'm hearing is if anybody has a newsletter or a connection at AARP or someplace where people might be interested in helping Robert and Sound Sustainability do this next level of testing, that's really who they're looking for right now. And then obviously, I think many of us are, you're absolutely right. We all go to the internet. And so if people can kind of in the quiet of their own home test their hearing on a FDA validated test, I could see people actually doing that. Whereas, calling and going through the effort of actually calling an audiologist, it's just sometimes a harder hoop to jump. And so I think you have a really good model that you're working on. And it was a true pleasure to have you here today. So thank you very much, Robert, for presenting. So I'd like to encourage everyone to reach out to Robert if you can. And I want to thank you all for coming today. It was really wonderful to see you, and thank you for being a part of HealthTie Open Innovation. We'll meet again in 2 weeks when Jake Carpenter with DSP Hire will give us an update on what he's doing. So thank you, everybody, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon, and thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Robert, that was awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. I was going to ask you if you wanted me to stay on right now for a second. No, I
You
appreciate
can,
it.
You can if you want. I think the main thing that I would say, Jerry, did you want to ask a question?
No, I just want to say, number one, thank you for your service. I know it was a thrill to be at Fort Sill. He'll know what that means, I think. And the places that I see your product, definitely applicable, obviously Cannon Cockers, and anyone involved in DoD aviation.
Yep.
I've been around for a while. I'm retired military as well. And in healthcare, and on the healthcare side, the number of people that I saw that had been involved with military aviation were just like those in artillery. They had significant hearing loss, and the same frustrations that you're talking about, as you had in your article introducing the topic. The VA was doing very little, if anything, to really assist them with quality of life. And if they had an instrument that broke or tore up, it was almost impossible to get it fixed in a timely manner. I think about, well, what if I didn't have my glasses for a few days? Oh, I could manage, but I would not. It would definitely impact my quality of life. And I can just imagine not having a working hearing aid. And no, by the way, I just watched Sound of Metal. Are you familiar with that movie?
Yes. Have you seen it yet, Jacqueline?
So
you have to watch it. Yeah.
Yeah. Jacqueline, are you familiar with it?
I'm not. I have a son
It's
who likes
up for Oscars.
Oh, okay.
It's up for Oscars.
Okay. Awesome.
And it's about this topic, and it does a really good job of showing the transition, if you would, from hearing to non-hearing. So anyway, I will do some networking in AARP because I'm of that age. And so Robert can't promise when, but I'll float you and see who, I'll put the hooks out and see who takes the bite.
I really appreciate that. And yeah, we're in no rush to get this wrong. We're, slow and steady, as you know, from military, slow, smooth as fast. So.
And just your price differential, that was just phenomenal. So wish you the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jerry. Always a pleasure to have
Thanks, Jacqueline. And Jacqueline, I'll follow up with you because I talked to Tom.
Okay, awesome. Great okay, take care. We'll see you later. All right. He's salt of the earth. He's really wonderful. So
I put the link for the movie for you in chat.
Okay, great. So what what I have found is that with this group, everybody's busy and they're all working hard. If there's any way that I can support you and continue to make these connections, let me know. But I would say that it sometimes takes a little effort on your part to kind of keep these good feelings going. So anything that I can do, but of course I'll stay in touch and see if there's anything based on, usually I'll get some emails or things following a presentation. I'll be sure to share those with you.
Okay. Yeah, no, and I know, like, as I'm almost done with grad school, once that's done, like all my energy goes to the company. I'm able to then focus on making sure I can develop more of those relationships. Just right now, like, that capacity is hit the wall whenever you're trying to, competitions plus grad school plus still building something. So yeah.
Well, with that in mind, why don't we, when are you done? Can you remind me?
I'm done June 3rd I'm actually done June 3rd, so yep, June 3rd I am done. Then I'm going to take 2 weeks off the actual travel and like clear my mind and come back reset.
Okay. So let's make a plan. I'll put a note in my calendar to reconnect at the end of June. Perfect. And you can just update me and I'll see if I can do anything more for you here. Okay.
That would be amazing. Yep. Last week of June works perfect for me. Thank you so much for this.
You're very welcome. And I wish you great success.
Thank you. All right. Bye.
Take care. Goodbye.